Good evening. My name is William Watkins, and I am Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, and I will serve as your narrator for this, the 4th Annual Freshman Convocation. It is my deep pleasure to welcome you to this event, and I ask that you please rise for our national anthem, which will be performed by the student group Akasola.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, home of the brave?
Thank you. You may all be seated. Tonight, a distinguished platform has been assembled to welcome you, the freshman class for 2010, the newest members of our campus community. Go on and cheer for yourselves. Make some noise. I ask that you hold your applause while I introduce the platform party. And I'll ask that the platform party please remain standing until all names have been called. From my right, moving to my left, first, Vice President for Administration and Finance, Mr. Tom McCarron. Faculty President, Mr. Steven Stepanek. Vice President for Information Technology, Ms. Hillary Baker. Your Associated Students President, Mr. Connor Lansdale. President of this great university, Dr. Jolene Kester. Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Harry Hillenbrand. Our keynote speaker, Ms. Holly Robinson-Peete. Our student speaker, Ms. June Kwan. Vice President for University Advancement, Dr. Vance Peterson. CSUN Alumni Association Vice President, Mr. Dennis DeYoung. President's Chief of Staff, Dr. Barbara Gross. In the back row, we now have Dean of the Oviatt Library, Dr. Susan Curzon. Dean, Michael Curb College of Arts, Media, and Communication, Dr. Robert Bucher. Dean, College of Business and Economics, Dr. William Jennings. Dean, Michael D. Eisner College of Education, and this evening's mace bearer, Dr. Michael Spagna. Dean, College of Engineering and Computer Science, Dr. S.K. Ramesh. Dean, College of Health and Human Development, Dr. Sylvia Oliva. Dean, College of Humanities, Dr. Elizabeth Say. Dean, College of Science and Mathematics, Dr. Jerry Stinner. And finally, Dean, College of the Social and Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Stella Theodoulou. Please join me in thanking this distinguished group. You may be seated. I would also like to introduce and thank all of the associate deans who have served as honor marshals for this occasion, members of our faculty, all of our campus department chairs, members of the Student Affairs and Academic Affairs Divisions administrations, members of the President's Associates, and student leaders of the Associated Students. Would you please rise and receive our recognition? Thank you. And now, it is my great privilege to introduce to you Dr. Jolene Kester, University President.
All right, let's hear it from this class. Where are you? I had to be sure you were out there. This is my opportunity to officially welcome you to Cal State Northridge and to say to all of you that we have one goal for you. That goal is graduation. We want you to graduate from Cal State Northridge. Now, every time I meet you, I'm going to say, do you have that 4-year plan to graduation? Some of you will look sheepishly at me. I'll accept 5 years, but that's as high as I'm going to go. We're having this convocation on this lawn in front of the Oviatt Library so that you all can get a feel for this place, because this is where we want you to participate in your graduation, your commencement ceremonies from California State University, Northridge, let's say in 4 years. How's that? You agree? Now let me give you a couple of tips, things that our experience with freshmen over the years tells us will help make you more successful. First of all, have a plan. Have a commitment to graduate in 4 years. So even if you slip a semester, maybe 2, you're going to graduate in 5. Second, show up for your classes. You should clap at that one. If you have questions, if you're confused, if you don't understand what the faculty member is indicating to you in terms of expectations, if you don't know how to handle some bureaucratic process, and we have a lot of them, ask for assistance. Ask in your department, ask in your advising center. If you live in Res Life, ask the folks up there. Go to Student Affairs, Academic Affairs. Send us an email, and we'll try to get your question answered. Understand and follow the requirements. That's pretty simple, but it trips up a lot of students. So read the catalog online. Learn what those requirements are. Get involved beyond the classroom. Your classroom is only one part of your learning. Be engaged in clubs, organizations, causes. Work to make this a better community. Persevere. You're going to have some tough times. It's not easy. You're going to wish you were at home in the comfort of mom and dad's house. Some of you. You're going to wish that you had more money. You're going to wish you were back in high school. Just understand, perseverance is part of this. Have personal and academic integrity. And most of all, strive for excellence. You're the future of California, and you are future graduates of California State University, Northridge. Congratulations and welcome.
At the end of each spring, the university hosts the annual Honors Convocation ceremony right here at this very location. That ceremony recognizes the top graduating students in the classes. During that ceremony, 4 students are presented with the high honor of being named Outstanding Graduating Senior. These students are chosen for their exemplary scholarship, meaningful involvement on campus and in the community, and for their success in overcoming personal life challenges. It's our hope that each of you will aspire to that achievement. Our student speaker tonight was named Outstanding Graduating Senior at last spring's Honors Convocation. This evening, I have the pleasure of introducing to you Ms. June Kwan. June graduated with a double major, earning a bachelor's degree in both political science and gender and women's studies, and attaining an overall grade point average of 3.78, and she aced all of her classes during her last year. She is an outstanding example of a student who began her college career not knowing exactly what field she would study. But through the process of exploring our many majors, she found not only her area of study, but she also developed a real passion for learning. This outstanding graduate is also a model for understanding how students enrich their academic experiences with meaningful volunteer and service learning experiences outside the classroom. Intent on creating social change, June threw herself into a world of activism, which included being the president of the Women's Studies Student Association, mobilizing students through initiatives such as the Get Out Her Vote campaign and the Birth Control Access and Emergency Contraception campaign. In addition, she worked as a peer educator and as a program assistant for Project DATE, our on-campus prevention program that seeks to prevent rape and sexual assault. Working with one of our faculty members, June also hosted a sexual assault prevention workshop that attracted over 200 CSUN students. She has helped underprivileged youngsters in programs such as the San Fernando Partnership, volunteered as a certified rape crisis advocate at Valley Trauma Center, completed 300 hours of service at the Self-Help Legal Center at the Van Nuys Courthouse. She interned with U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein's office, and in the service she considers most rewarding of all, she worked for a year with Justice Corps, a subdivision of the American Corps program. Currently, June is preparing for law school and plans to make her mark as an activist lawyer for women who experience domestic violence and other forms of injustice. It is my great pleasure and privilege to present to you the student speaker of the evening, Ms. June Kwan. June?
Thank you, Dr. Watkins, for that kind introduction. It is an honor to be here today, and I'm very grateful because it's such an honor to carry the distinction as one of the 4 2010 graduating seniors. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that the question ever is not what you have done or forborne, but at whose command you have done or forborne it. For when I came to CSUN and before, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. For 1 week, I thought I wanted to do business. Second week, I thought I wanted to do fashion. And third week, I thought I wanted to do sociology. I just had no idea, and I had so much self-doubt that I didn't believe in my own decisions. So I went to advisors and professors, and I asked them, what should I do with my life? And all of them said the same thing. They said, do what you love. But still, that wasn't enough for me. So I kept searching, not for what I wanted to do, but for someone who will tell me what I should do. Before CSUN, I didn't know what I loved, but I found it here. When I came to CSUN, I didn't even go to my freshman orientation. I was in remedial classes, and honestly, my friend had to push me to apply to college because I didn't think that college was meant for me. This all changed with one class, and maybe it will for you if you're confused as well. I took a women's studies class because my advisor told me I should take one. And in that class, I didn't even go to class sometimes. I didn't listen to the professor, didn't really care about the assignments, because I was sitting there listening to a professor tell me about women's rights. I thought I had my rights. So I concluded that this class was a waste of time, I didn't care, and I didn't do so well. Getting ready for next semester, my advisor told me to take another women's studies class. And I said, okay, because it will fulfill a GE requirement. So I went into this class with a very negative attitude because I thought it was just going to be another rant. But this professor was so amazing. Her passion was so overwhelming, I feel that it extended onto me. And it made me want to learn more about the women's movement. And I began to get curious. And it was in this class where I understood why I was told to look and behave a certain way because I was a woman. And I started to understand double standards. But more importantly, I understood why I was told that I would get married and have someone who will take care of me for the rest of my life. I started to get excited about class. Me, someone who didn't care when I came to CSUN. I started to get excited about school, and I wanted to learn. And I started leading student organizations. I started volunteering. I started reaching out to my community. So do what you love. Do what calls to your soul. Do what makes you happy. Be viciously honest with yourself every day and know that you're listening to yourself and making your own decisions. When I found my passion, it became necessary for me to use my voice and speak up for what I believed in, but I was scared. American activist Maggie Kuhn said, "Stand before the people you fear and speak your mind, even if your voice shakes." College is where you can begin to find your voice. All my life, I was called the quiet Asian girl, and it really bugged me. But in one of my classes, I decided to challenge the stereotype. I remember someone said, all Asian American women are oppressed, and that really bugged me. And even though I didn't know the perfect way to attack that statement, I knew that it was more. I knew that it was a linked system that created this oppression. So stand up, speak loud, and stand up for what you believe in. Today, I use my voice to speak out against gender violence as an activist. Today, I use my voice to speak up for my beliefs and against societal prejudices and social injustices. Challenge the world around you. The world is not just black and white. It's a culmination of all of our voices. How will you use your voice? Now, being that voice amongst 1,000 quiet voices, it's going to be very natural for you to start feeling judged and start comparing yourself to others. This was the hardest thing for me in college because I felt so behind. And instead of embracing my improvements, I kept holding on to my past, thinking I could have and should have done better. And I still struggle with this today, but we're all human. Now I know that it takes effort and time. And some of your friends may do certain things quicker and faster than you, but anyone else's successes and failures do not impact your successes and your failures. Look to the left of you and look to the right of you. These are your peers, but don't compare yourself to them. Love yourself and embrace your own unique path. Love yourself and embrace your own unique path. So my time here at CSUN, I learned a very, very, very big secret. Nobody's perfect. Set goals for yourself, but know that life is going to have obstacles. But the key is not to let those obstacles get in the way of your dreams and your goals. Cherish the good, but also cherish the bad. Cherish your successes and be humble and learn from your failures and mistakes. What we get out of life are experiences, and these experiences help us grow. In my most darkest times is when I found the most critical insights that helped me the most. Now, there are many ways that people could end speeches like this, and I struggled to find the best way to do it. But I couldn't envision myself leaving you with a profound quote or even cliché remarks, and I found myself writing you all a letter. Dear freshman class, too often do we find ourselves holding on to the past. Too often we find ourselves wandering from the present. Too often we find ourselves distracted from our future. Instead, let us reflect on our past and embrace the present moment so that we can look forward to our future. My professors have reminded me that life is not linear, it weaves. And along this movement, we have labels such as success and failure. Think about what life would be like as we acknowledge the weaving, but without the labels. Then maybe we wouldn't be spending our days trying to be perfect and being overcritical of ourselves. Maybe we would be more confident, and maybe we would take more chances. College life is not going to be linear. It just can't. Life is too complex and beautiful for that. Maybe this is why we sometimes miss the beauty in things that we call flaws and failures. At the end of the day, you are a human being. You are not a school, you are not your GPA, and what others have said about you. What you want out of your college experience is something only you can create for yourself. If you are confused right now, it's very natural for you to feel this way. I know I did. But know that you have the ability to turn that confusion into a curiosity for knowledge. You make it happen when you create it, and it becomes real because you believed in yourself. Having a passion isn't enough. Express your passion. So be active, go volunteer, meet your professors, enjoy all of your classes, and create friendships. Embrace your life, your experiences, your background, your knowledge, and share your experiences, just like how I shared my story with you today. Whether they are good or bad experiences, share them. This is how friendships build and grow stronger, how we build compassion for one another. And this is how we learn to empathize with someone else's struggle that will help us further understand that there's so much around us. When I volunteered at the domestic violence clinic, a woman shared her story with me, and before she left, she told me, "Fight for our rights, keep fighting." And I looked at her bruises, and I looked into her eyes, and I saw a lot of struggle, and I even noticed that her voice was shaking. Her words still remain with me today in a basket full of other women's lives that remind me of the love for what I do today. I left CSUN as an outstanding graduating senior, but I also left CSUN with more questions than answers. I don't know the meaning of life, but I know that life sometimes doesn't go as planned. I don't know if I'll get into a prestigious graduate school, but I know that I will continue to express my passion wherever I am. I don't know if I hold any true knowledge, but I know that my beliefs are my own. I don't know if I'm the smartest person or the dumbest person, but I know that life isn't about that. I don't know why I struggle, but I know that I can overcome it. I don't know if I will change the world, but I know that I can't do it alone. With hope and good intentions. Thank you.
You know, I find this format aggravating each year. Each year I'm presaged by a student who is 40 years younger than me, but 50 years wiser than me. That was a wonderful speech about what we all hope a liberal education is about: overcoming doubt, discovering our passion, and finding our voice. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs, Harry Hellenbrand, and it will be my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Holly Robinson Peete. Autism. Today's convocation address by Holly Robinson Peete will explore this way of being. But the speech is about so much more. It is about you. It is about America. It is about your education. My nephew is, as we say, high-functioning autistic. He flaps his right arm to a beat he only hears. Often he is expressionless. He cannot focus on the verbal cues that makes conversation work. He must be driven everywhere. Imagine always being lost. Early on, doctors and schools labeled him autistic. The label implied hopelessness, haplessness, and eventually homelessness. But today he is a math whiz, runs a fish counter in a market, and is hilarious in riffs of wit. How so? His family saw a child, not a label. They nurtured a young adult. They are not governed by a condition. In airports, we often travel together. I watch others watch my nephew flapping and talking to himself. And I watch their self-absorption. They lip-sync to a Walkman. They thumb the BlackBerry. They sway to a soundtrack only they hear. They show a blank face, unconnected to the public space. I wonder, who is autistic? What is autistic? Why is autistic? Holly Robinson Peete has discovered how to take down the diagnostic barriers, the labels and damning conditions that could have separated her from her son, who is autistic. Words and gestures now are bridges. They are not hedges. She is an actress by trade, a professor and student of the human heart by calling. She has questioned stereotypes. She has opened conversations that free minds of preconceptions and hearts of prepossessions about autism. She shows that the liberal arts, broad knowledge, a spirit of inquiry, and an open heart are more valuable than dividends, more enduring than stock options. Please join me in welcoming a guide to the human spirit and heart, Holly Robinson Peete.
Wow. Hi, freshmen. How you all doing? The sun's down, so y'all don't have to block the sun anymore. I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank you, Provost. That was beautiful. I need a copy of that speech, by the way, because you said some things about me that I just want to read again. and frame and put in my office. Thank you to the faculty, to the students, Thomas for inviting me. I am thrilled to be here. This is a real honor. This is an esteemed university. I love it. I don't live very far away, drive past it very often. I am, for those of you who don't know, a bunch of things. I'm a mom of 4, a wife, a daughter, sister, life coach, publicist, etiquette instructor, floor manager, chef, maid, chauffeur, room mom, best friend, therapist, oh yeah, and sometimes I act, and philanthropist, and I'm a new daytime talk show host, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, you know, it's hard out there. I'm happy to have a job. But I was once a college freshman, just like you. The world was in front of me, my eyes were wide, and the world was just mine. A few things about me. I was born in Philadelphia. Anybody from Philly? No? Okay. Shout out to Philly. To a school teacher mom and an aspiring writer-producer dad who would go on to lock down the best day job a 4-year-old could ever wish her daddy to have. In 1969, my dad was cast as Gordon on Sesame Street. Okay, not your generation's Gordon, but not the one with the bald head, but the very first one some of my friends on the stage might remember with the big pork chop sideburns. So come on, that was, I mean, you're 4 years old, you get to hang out with Grover and Big Bird and Cookie Monster. I mean, what more could you ask for? So you'd think it would be easy for me to get on the show because my dad was a star, but no, because he wasn't feeling the whole kid actor thing. So finally, I begged and pleaded. I had one line, and I blew my one line. I was supposed to say, hi, Gordon. I kept saying, hi, Daddy, so I was kind of jacked up. Okay, so things were all lovely and enlightening on Sesame Street, but on our street in Philadelphia, things weren't so great. In 1974, my parents split up, and with $500, 2 kids, and a hamster in a beat-up green Volvo station wagon, my mom had the audacity to think she needed to go west and look for a better life, to California. This trip was a nightmare for me. I was 9 years old. I was leaving my friends, my favorite cousin, Kelly. I moped, I cried from Pennsylvania through Ohio, through New Mexico. And when my hamster got dropped off in the Mojave Desert for a better life, my mom's here, I'm giving her that look. How much stress could a 9-year-old take? I mean, it was really difficult. My mom knew like 2.5 people in LA, but one, fortunately, happened to be an actor, a little bit before your time too, named Cleavon Little. He was in a movie called Blazing Saddles. That was, y'all remember, classic movie. And he gave us his place on the beach in Malibu for free to stay, because we didn't have any money, so we needed a place to stay. And it wasn't just any beach we pulled up to when we finally got to California. It was a nude beach. So while I continued to just marinate in the drama of, oh my God, my mom has ruined my life, my 12-year-old brother was like, I'm going to go out here and learn how to surf so I can spend as much time on the beach as possible, because he was very happy to see the women on the horses and stuff. We were just 2 of maybe 5 African-American kids in the entire city. I believe the other 3 were Flip Wilson's kids, again, before your time, but those of you, Flip Wilson was like maybe the Martin Lawrence or the Eddie Murphy of the 70s. So leaving my perfectly integrated Philadelphia hood, this move sent me into severe culture shock. I spent my elementary and junior high school with the likes of Rob Lowe and Charlie Sheen and Sean Penn and Dean Cain and, you know, people that never went on to do anything. And it was a really strange existence. My mom struggled then, but she happened to meet a 19-year-old actor who was about to star in this mini-series called Roots. Okay, he needed a manager, she needed a job, and well, thank God for Kunta Kinte, because and thank you, LeVar Burton. And she took him all the way from Africa to the space, the final frontier, when he was on Star Trek. So her career as a talent manager began in an industry dominated by basically white men, in very few women, and certainly none who looked like her. And she broke many glass ceilings. So my mom, who they said was nuts to leave Philly, was at the top of her game in the 90s. She's loving, by the way, that she didn't know my speech was going to be about her. But that was my role model, and just taking an awful situation and reinventing herself against the odds. I mean, I just didn't know it, but I was just one really lucky kid. So after many years in Southern California, I went off to a small liberal arts college called Sarah Lawrence, where I wanted to get reacquainted with the East Coast again. And during my freshman year, amazing time, so excited, and I looked just like you guys, and just happy to be here and looking forward to everything. But my dad got diagnosed with the incurable neurological disease, Parkinson's. Early onset Parkinson's, only 46 years old. So I was devastated. This was 1982, no Google, no search engines. It was just hard to find anything on this disease. He was also writing and producing for The Cosby Show. He should have been at the top of his game in the prime of his life, but Parkinson's disease just changed that trajectory dramatically. So I graduated, I got an acting job on a brand new show on a brand new network at the time called Fox, alongside a brand new future superstar named Johnny Depp. I don't know whatever happened to him. And 21 Jump Street was a really big hit, and it was just an amazing job, and life was great. And right after that, I got a gig called Hang with Mr. Cooper, and that was fun. And then everything was going great, and on a blind date, I met this guy, and in 1993, a cute NFL quarterback. He proposes to me on the set of Cooper, and it's a fairy tale wedding, and I get pregnant with twins, blah, blah. Everything's lovely, charming, and blessed. But as my dad got worse and worse, and we took care of him, I was just feeling really sorry for myself. I felt angry that I had to take on so much responsibility as I was starting out my family and my life. How could so much be going so right, but it felt so wrong? And I just felt helpless and sad at what should have been the happiest time in my life. My dad had several expensive brain procedures that were going to attempt to alleviate his Parkinson's, for which we had a lot of hope, but they were not successful, and I became very depressed. But Rodney sat me down. He said, hold on. Do you know how good you have it? You can actually afford to take care of your dad. We have good jobs, and yeah, it's a strain, but imagine if you couldn't do anything for him. That's what most families are struggling with. What if I didn't have this great TV job and no funds to help out my dad with these very expensive meds? So one day I got a letter from a young lady who heard about my dad's Parkinson's and just really reminded me of that fact, how blessed I was, because she couldn't afford to take care of her father. And that was the beginning of the Holly Rod Foundation. We provide compassionate care for Parkinson's disease patients and their families. So, into philanthropy, engaging in a life of service. My hero and mentor, Marian Wright Edelman, child advocate, says service is the rent you pay for living. I love her. I love everything that she does. And I was like, I'm off and running. In 1997, I gave birth to two healthy twins. Wait, two twins. That's never really right. I gave birth to healthy twins. So two, a boy and a girl. And they were both hitting their developmental milestones at the same time. In 1999, around 2 years old, like a needle on the record, my firstborn boy twin, RJ, abruptly stopped responding to his name and making eye contact. What was up? My pediatrician said, oh, he'll grow out of it. He's not going to, don't compare him to his sister. He's just developmentally, boys are different, slower. But I knew. I mean, my gut was ringing, I knew. I took a year trying to get a diagnosis for this boy so I could start being proactive to help him out. Eventually, a developmental pediatrician diagnosed him with autism and said he would never do a list of things. He would never go to school, mainstream school. He would never live on his own, never drive. He would never do so many things, and the worst one was that he would never ever say, unprompted, I love you, Mom. So, and then she said he would never play organized sports, and my husband was like, what? Wait, no, this is not how this is supposed to go. He had all these expectations for his son. So it's a giant kick in the gut to get that diagnosis, especially 10 years ago when there wasn't a lot of information. It was very bleak. Some quick facts about autism. I know there's a lot more awareness now, so you might know some of these. 1 in 110 children diagnosed, fastest growing developmental disorder in the world. Every 20 minutes, a child is diagnosed. It usually presents itself around 2 to 3 years of age. And there's this spectrum, this wide spectrum of autism ranging from low-functioning, nonverbal child to a brilliantly verbal, gifted child who can tell you every scientific fact but cannot look you in the eye or make a friend. So after a long, well, mine was a little shorter stint in denial and some serious difficult times. My husband stayed in denial a little bit longer. There were some moments when I didn't think I would survive in this seemingly picture-perfect marriage. I didn't know if I would make it. There's a divorce rate of 80% with autism. So when your kid has autism, it's almost like losing him, and he's there, but he's not. We were kicked out of schools because other children and their parents weren't comfortable with him. We were told he was not teachable, on and on. You're told after diagnosis there's this crucial window of time to intervene, to pull the child out of this autistic world, but that intervention is expensive and not covered by insurance in most states. So we emptied our bank accounts on therapies and experimental things and theories and everything. We tried absolutely everything, and then a blessing from the sky fell in the form of a school that welcomed our boy as a challenge, an exercise in diversity that saw our desire to mainstream him as something that would benefit neurotypical kids as well. That was a major blessing. They felt, unlike other schools, that it would be good for children to connect with a boy with a special need like autism. He could model, he could mainstream, they could learn tolerance. It was a win-win scenario. Our boys struggled, and so did we. Many of our friends stopped asking for play dates, and our support thinned out as people were even worried if they could catch it. I mean, some parents actually asked if autism was contagious, but the ignorance was just really astounding. And this is only 10 years ago, mind you, and it reminded me sort of the ignorance of the AIDS epidemic in the 80s and 90s. So for years we lived, mind you, doing our foundation, rallying for people with Parkinson's disease. We lived semi-privately. We'd advocated for Parkinson's, but this was different. This is my son. We were petrified to speak out about our situation. We were scared of what other people would say. We were feeling no one would understand, feeling judged. We didn't want to label him for life. So we realized, had we seen that day, that never day in that pediatrician's office, in the waiting room, for instance, a magazine, like a People magazine, with another family, a celebrity family, talking about how they had gone through the same thing and they had endured so much, how much that would have meant to us, how much it would have helped tremendously. And so we gathered at the kitchen table and we had a family meeting and we went down the pros and cons about taking this public. I was pro, my husband was con, but I always win everything in the house, so I won. Yeah. We needed to... That's just the way it rolls at our house. We needed to talk about this publicly, and I have to tell you, it was the biggest blessing and the best thing we could ever done. You know, talking to people and opening up about your story to other people is such a powerful tool. There are other celebrity families that have the same issue. Not everybody's cut out for it, but we deciphered that we really were. RJ, by the way, is just an amazing child. He is a beautiful boy. I say he's like mid to high functioning, whatever that means. He finally started talking at 6 years old, actually having semi-conversations around 8 or 9. He's sweet, loving, like your nephew. He can recite, the entire roster of, major league team and in every single major league team in the MLB. He can tell you the dates of their home games. He can do all that, but it's really tough for him to make a connection and make a friend. So our son benefited from 2 parents who had the resources to do whatever it takes to make progress. But what about those families that don't have those resources, or 2 parents? So when we have access to resources and information, leadership requires that you share that information with others. So we expanded our mission at Holly Rod to include autism. We're in the beginning stages of a capital campaign to build an autism treatment center in South LA where families can access treatment for the whole child. They don't come in pieces, From traditional behavior therapy to safe biomedical treatment to nutritional and family counseling, diagnostic testing, musical therapy, even a barbershop we're going to have, because try taking your kid to the barbershop when he has autism. It's not fun. We're going to cover that gamut and have it all under one roof so families will have a great opportunity. You know, most pediatricians won't tell you that autism is treatable, but it is. Our boy is not cured, and I'm a little wary of that word, but he's made tremendous progress, and we just are so thrilled to be able to share this story. Our fear was labeling our son for life, but what we've created is this kid that understands how sharing his story has really helped out. You know, we wish we'd spoken out sooner. Dr. Martin Luther King said our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. And we wish we had started sooner. But what we know now is that we've been able to reach. And I'll share this story. We were at Disneyland, and this family walked up to us, and they said, we just want to meet RJ, want to shake his hand and say thank you, and thank you. And we had like an autism family group hug, and he said he had 2 girls who were on the spectrum, and it's been really hard, and we just shared a moment. And when they walked away, RJ said, Mommy, why'd they want to meet me? I said, well, because you shared your story. He said, did I help them? I said, yes, son. He said, because I have autism? I said, yes, you allowed us to share your story, and it helped other people. And he said, does that make me a leader? That was a real moment. And it just really made me realize that he was connecting with the fact that he was helping people. But he's slick, too. Let me be clear. He left pizza under his bed for about 2 weeks. Okay, and when I said, RJ, why did you do that? Why did you leave that pizza under your bed? He said, because I have autism. I'm like, okay. Playing the A card, working it. So he knows, he's great. I recently joined the board of directors of Autism Speaks, the largest and most influential autism advocacy group in the country. I'm the first and only African American on the board. I'm really happy about that. And as such, I plan to raise a ruckus and to help them get more resources to our communities. Because in the African American community, kids are getting diagnosed 2 to 5 years later than other communities. So we need to change that. Look, I recently was on a show called Celebrity Apprentice. And I wasn't trying to win Miss Congeniality on the show, as those of you who watch might have known. But I raised $600,000 for my charity. I worked really, really hard. Yes, it's a reality show. I've never done reality. I've come from scripted TV, so you know, in reality, sometimes the editor is the writer. And that was a little different from me. But I almost won. But see, this dude named Brett Michael, he got sick right before, and Donald Trump had to pick him. But that's all good, because he still gave me the money. He can have the title. I'll take the cash. I look forward to seeing some of you later as I signed my book, my children's book, My Brother Charlie. I co-wrote this book with my daughter, who's 12, who wanted to advocate for her brother and advocate for siblings of children with special needs. And I am so proud of the book. Please, if you get one, please share it with someone young and special and in your life. And just remember that these kids are beautiful, valuable members of our society, and I urge you to embrace and engage them and their families. It may just teach you something you didn't know about yourself. So that's my long-winded speech, but stay focused while you're here, and just be reminded of this amazing opportunity that you have, one that so many others don't have. I'm sure you know that. Stay present to the access you have to everything you need to be successful in life, which is knowledge. And finally, I just encourage you all to raise your voice and try to change the world. Thank you very much for listening to me, and congratulations, freshmen!
As Holly has indicated, she's going to be signing her book, My Brother Charlie, and we appreciate that extra special attention and time she's going to spend with all of you. We want to give you a memento, and we hope that it will help you remember this amazing freshman class at California State University, Northridge.
Wow. Can I open it?
Yes, you can, of course.
I love you too. Shoot, I got a gift with purchase right here. Look. Wow. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you want to leave it here, we'll carry it out.
Yes, absolutely.
There is another group of students that I want to recognize here. If you'll all look in that direction, you'll see California State University Northridge student athletes. Give them a hand. At this time, I'm going to ask Associated Students President Connor Lansdale to join me here, and I'm going to ask the platform party to stand up, please.
Welcome again to all you Matadors. How you feeling tonight? Now, I know during orientation, you all learned the CSUN alma mater, right? I got some yeses, some nos. Well, I've given you a little cheat sheet. If you turn around your programs, you're going to see the alma mater on the back. Now, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed that we're going to make you perform for us tonight, so I brought in some ringers. Hey, orientation leaders, are you ready? Oh, that was weak, orientation leaders. Come on, let me hear something. Getting beat by freshmen. Come on, what is that? That's what I like to hear. Hey, Jazz A Band, are you ready? And I brought some professionals with me tonight. Hey, Northridge Singers, are you ready? All right, now freshmen, are you ready? I'd like to ask you all to stand up as we sing the CSUN alma mater. Let me stand away from the mic.
Thank you, Connor, and thank you, freshman class 2010. You may be seated. I hope you all enjoyed that performance. The alma mater was written by a student here when he was a student in the 70s, Richard Kaufman, who's now a conductor of popular music all across the United States. You're going to hear the alma mater play on the University Carillon throughout the day. So if you need to be reminded of the melody, which I think some of you do need to be reminded of the melody, you might want to listen to that. I want to thank the people who make this event possible. I'm going to name these individuals, and then I'd like you to give them a rousing round of applause. Professor Matt Harris and the Jazz A Band, a number of other brass musicians. They're from our great music department, our great student group, Aka Solo, who sang the national anthem, the Northridge Singers, all of the members of the campus staff who have staged this incredible event. And let's give us welcome, thanks to them, as well as all the new student orientation leaders and university housing resident assistants. So say thanks to all of them. Those orientation leaders really like working with you freshmen, let me tell you. They're really jazzed by all of you. And of course, we have a freshman honors convocation committee. After this ceremony, you are invited to join us at the conclusion of the event. That's redundant, isn't it? It's like the twins, two twins. Up here on the south portico of the Oviatt Library. Now, there is food there. Don't rush. Don't rush. All right. I want to turn back to you in the freshman class. I want to remind you that you are here in the front of the university's Oviatt Library because this is where we have graduation ceremonies. We want to see you at graduation at California State University, Northridge. The Convocation is meant to inspire you, so am I going to see you at graduation in 4 years? Now, this is going to be the drill here. Everybody listen up, because we are between you and food. All right? The platform party is going to walk up the stairs first. That's called the recessional. We practice that for graduation as well. That's when you're all graduated. There's no food at graduation. But there's food tonight. All right. When the platform party has reached the top of the stairs, then the marshals here and orientation leaders are going to direct all of you to follow us up the stairs. As you walk up the stairs, you are joining the California State University Northridge community as freshmen. And then we want to see you in 4 years walk across this stage when we can shake your hand and congratulate you as you become alumna and alumnus. Congratulations to you, the freshman class of the fall of 2010 at California State University, Northridge. Hail to the Matadors!